the radio and we had the Grammy nomination and stuff, like you're still going to get pushback because of the color of Jon's skin.
They don't know about this
Pasadena is very diverse. I mean, you know, but even beyond that, like growing up with grandparents who owned a record store.
Ready for the shock of your R&B loving life? Jon B's latest news drops a truth nobody saw coming. The king of Velvet Hooks has pulled in $0 from the very records that put him on your mixtapes. That's platinum discs on the wall, but not one royalty check in the mail. Think that's wild? Wait, Jon B's latest news stacks on a secret phone call from Tupac, an unpaid sample drama with Chloe Bailey in Ghana, and a legal battle that revealed 42 spelling errors on royalty sheets, all spelling his name wrong on purpose. And Jon B's scandal update turns another screw. A teenage Beyoncé shout-out blew up in his face, leaving him slammed as creepy, even after he apologized, tossing a label that billed him for limo rides he never took and photo shoots he never approved. And you've got a saga that makes the wildest reality show look tame. Grab a seat, because this isn't nostalgia, this is a survival thriller. By the end of this ride, you'll have one question burning. Did the industry rob Jon B blind, or did he sign away his future? Type robbed or signed in the comments right now. Lock in your guess, and let's see if the facts flip your stance. Jonathan David Buck arrived on November 11, 1974, in Providence, Rhode Island, but his musical destiny started in Pasadena before he could tie his shoes. His dad, David, taught music theory at Pasadena City College, drilling counterpoint exercises between breakfast and bedtime. Mom, Linda, was a concert pianist who filled the house with Chopin etudes until neighbors knew every run by heart. Discipline was a family habit. Each child hit the metronome before homework. Jon gravitated to keys first, but his parents mapped out well-rounded training. Drums for rhythm, guitar for harmony, choir for pitch. Still, classical pieces left him hungry for groove. Salvation lived at his grandparents' record shop, Buck's Vinyl Corner, wedged next to a barbershop off Colorado Boulevard. The minute Jon smelled that dusty cardboard, he felt alive. Grandma played Marvin Gaye, Grandpa spun Earth, Wind and Fire, and nobody cared that he was 10 years old reading liner notes like scripture. He learned to pick out bass lines with one ear and string arrangements with the other. When a customer raved about Stevie's songs and Key of Life, Jon memorized the title by tone and begged his dad to let him dissect every chord. Dad agreed, but only after Jon's sight read a Mozart sonata. Deal struck, balance learned. Middle school flipped the vibe. Jon's backpack carried cassette tapes of Guy and Bobby Brown. Some classmates laughed, accusing him of code switching. Others liked the music, but said it was not for you. The teasing slid into shoves, then sucker punches. One day, Jon came home with a busted lip. His parents listened, then drove straight to L.A. County High School for the Arts to enroll him. That transfer rewired his life. The campus cafeteria sounded like a symphony hall. Drama kids rehearsed Shakespeare at lunch. Dancers stretched in hallways, and the gospel choir blasted riffs that rattled lockers. Jon tried out, scared stiff, but nailed a Stevie Wonder verse. The choir director threw him center stage as the token tenor who could belt high C's. Suddenly, whispers turned to respect. Choir trips led to church gigs to studio nights to homemade demos on 4-track tape. Jon spent weekends layering harmonies in his bedroom, balancing tracks between 2 cassette decks, praying the hiss wouldn't drown the groove. At 17, he mass-mailed those demos, 32 padded envelopes, each with a handwritten note, to any producer name he found in Billboard. Most tapes bounced back unopened, but one landed on Tracy Edmonds' desk at Yab Yum Records. She pressed play, heard caramel harmonies over new jack drum loops, and marched the cassette straight to her husband, Babyface. Face listened twice, then asked for a meeting. Jon showed up in thrift store chinos, hand shaking. Face calmed with one question. "You write this?" Jon nodded. Face grinned. Deal inked. That's how Bonafide was born in 1995. Someone to Love, a duet with Babyface, shot to number 7 on the Hot 100 and scored a Grammy nomination. Good sign, right? Wrong. The contract Jon signed that year, drafted by label lawyers, locked his royalty rate at 7% wholesale before recoupment. Translation: he'd eat legal fees, video costs, tour support, even postage for fan club mailers before touching a dime. Nobody explained that math to a 19-year-old buzz with dreams. The label next demanded he ditch R&B for pop. Executives waved charts showing white male soloists selling stadiums. Jon pushed back. He believed the soul wasn't skin, it was intention. He won that round, and the fight birthed his 1997 classic Cool Relax. They Don't Know smashed radio rotation, while B-Side Don't Say lit up slow jam playlists. Platinum certification followed, but the royalty statement totaled $0, stamped unrecouped balance $2,354,971. Every video, radio junket, and limo ride was billed against him. Yes, Even the rides were execs itemized as artist transport. Jon was furious, but clueless. Lawyers cost cash. He had none. Enter Tupac. Pac was bumping Bonafide in his Hummer. Asked a mutual friend for an intro, and rang Jon personally. They met at a soundstage shoot for How Do You Want It? Jon carried a keyboard. Pac freestyled. 3 hours later they cut Are You Still Down? The track mixed raw street talk with Jon's silky hook, a pairing no A&R predicted. Execs panicked, refusing release while the East-West feud raged. Pac Press put out Now. Weeks later he was shot in Vegas. The label, Smelling Profit, finally dropped a single in 1998. It went gold quick, yet Jon's royalty sheet still read zero. The collaboration gained him street cred, but not 1 cent. Meanwhile, Jon's Love Life grabbed headlines. He married Music Taj Galloway, a black tour manager he met during a rehearsal run. R&B diehards cheered. Certain gossip mags whispered, PR stunt. Jon and Taj ignored the noise, but stress crept in. Tour buses doubled as counselor couches. They split quietly in 2002. Jon Bs scandal update that year. Tabloids claimed infidelity. Court papers simply cited irreconcilable touring schedules. Jon paid alimony for 2 years on checks pulled from gig guarantees, not record royalties because he still had none. By 2004, the label pivoted to teen pop. Jon begged for promo dollars to push Stronger Every Day, his most personal album. The label sent him to a morning show segment sandwiched between a cooking demo and a juggling dog. Sales stalled. The audit letters he filed landed nowhere, but one junior accountant called, tipping him to unmatched mechanical royalties sitting in a black box. Jon hired a forensic auditor. They found 42 misspelled entries, Jon Buck, Jon B, Jon Bank, blocking automated payouts. 2 years of earnings recovered. The rest vanished behind statute limitations. A $35,000 check arrived. Nice, but pennies next to $3 million owed. New chapter in 2007. Jon married Danette Buck, a business graduate who believed spreadsheets could heal music wounds. She demanded every statement. She used pastel highlighters to map hidden fees. She renegotiated his touring contracts to deposit 50% advances before soundcheck. Thanks to her grit, Jon B's latest news in 2007 read, Independent or Bust. He launched by Bezalek Records, leasing masters to distributors instead of selling them. First indie release, Helpless Romantic, sold modestly, but 85% of revenue hit his account. He cried the day the wire cleared, just when calm settled. A clip from a 2013 podcast resurfaced in 2018. Jon had mentioned Destiny's Child once opened his shows, adding that Beyoncé looked amazing, even at 16. The internet ripped him as creepy. The timeline, Destiny's Child first opened for him in 1997. Beyoncé was 16. Jon's comment felt benign at the time. 2 decades later, culture ruled it problematic. Cancel hashtags trend. Jon B apologized on Instagram Live, eyes watery, explaining he meant respect, not objectification. Some forgave, others canceled. Bookings dipped, but the storm faded after Beyoncé's team stayed silent. Next headline, Chloe Bailey and Ghana's 2024 Valentine's Day release You and Me. They lifted the They Don't Know central chord loop. Jon woke at 4 a.m. to pings. He streamed the track, heard the sample, and tweeted ratchet. Music blogs lit up. Fans split. Some said sampling honors. Others screamed theft. Ghana's label claimed fair use, which legal experts laughed off. Clearance papers had never been filed. Jon demanded removal or payment. The track stayed up. Streaming counts soared. Lawyers prepped suit. Hip-hop bloggers aired live debates titled Pay Jon B or Nah. Each mention drove streams of the original track, lining the label's pockets, not Jon's. Jon B's scandal update now had a new villain. Digital platforms that honor whoever uploads first, not whoever created first. Behind scenes, Jon's stress spiked blood pressure. Tour doctors advised rest. He pushed through shows because refund clauses would bury him. Danette rented mobile studio so he could record while traveling. He wrote Royalty Thief, a mid-tempo groove calling out unnamed execs. Fans leaked live snippets, cheering every line. A TikTok challenge used a hook with a check set, racking up 10 million loops. Irony. The song about stolen money was generating platform cash for TikTok. Let's drop a question. Do you believe labels should face legal penalties for unpaid royalties, or should outdated contracts stand? Type penalty or contract below. Your stance might spark our next panel talk. Rewind to 1995 for a second. Jon's parents demanded he finish community college while launching his career. He took night classes in music business, absorbing copyright law. Decades later, those notes guided him through independent waters. He retains 100% publishing on new songs, licenses to film and TV, and even scored a Hallmark movie last Christmas, netting more than his first 2 albums combined. Yet old masters still print money for others. Cool, relaxed surfaces in every 90s playlist. Each stream sends microcents to a corporation that once billed him for catering, executive suite. He jokes on stage, I paid for lunches I never ate. Tour stories? He once performed in Houston during Hurricane Ike trigger blackouts. The club lost power mid-set. Jon unplugged, grabbed an acoustic guitar, and left 500 fans in a candlelit version of Are You Still Down? Videos hit YouTube, drawing new fans. He's played weddings for couples who met his concert, birthdays for kids conceived through his slow jams, and memorials where families request they don't know as a farewell song. Those human moments keep him walking when spreadsheets scream fraud. Remember the record store? Jon Bs visits incognito every Thanksgiving, restocks used bins with signed copies of his albums, and hides gift cards inside random sleeves. Lucky diggers find them, tweet photos, and start viral threads about generosity. One fan used a card to buy textbooks. Jon retweeted education royalties. He spends hours mentoring teens in that same shop, breaking down chord progressions, showing how to layer vocals, and teaching contract red flags. If you don't control your art, someone else controls your life, he tells them, every single time. Let's slide into nerd territory. Jon B records vocals on a vintage Newman U87 passed down from Babyface. He keeps it in a climate control vault and travels with a budget-sure SM7B for motel room cuts. He swears by analog synths, Juno 106 for pads, Moog Sub 37 for bass. He builds tracks in Logic, but stems it bounce through a half-inch tape deck for warmth. Yes, tape costs money, but he argues feel beat speed. That sonic integrity sets his indie records apart. Engineers confirming. His tracks clip at 0.1 dB but never distort, a trick he learned watching Babyface ride SSL consoles. Legal deep dive? His original contract's Clause 17 be allowed deductions for independent radio promotion, a category the label used to subtract $800,000. Court filings later showed only $60,000 was spent. The rest registered as consulting fees to a shell company linked to an executive's cousin. Jon's legal team cited fraud. The label settled quietly, paying a mid-six-figure sum. That check paid off Jon's mortgage. He framed the settlement letter and hung it next to his first platinum plaque, Ironic Twins. Mental health matters. Jon admits nights in hotel rooms crying over bills. He practiced meditation after Tupac's death. Following a book Pac once mentioned, The Art of Living, he journals nightly, listing 3 gratitudes and 3 lessons. He travels with a portable humidifier after losing his voice in Denver altitude. He warms up with gospel scales learned in high school choir, still thanking those teachers by name on every liner note. Family balance? His daughters tour in summer. They do homework on the tour bus, calling it road school. Danette manages merchandise, counting cash by hand. She refuses label offers for help. Trust no one. Their marriage thrives on Sunday Zooms with therapists, even on tour. Jon says therapy is cheaper than divorce, and way cheaper than bad contracts. Here's a curveball. Jon once coached a high school basketball team's halftime choir for free, arranging They Don't Know for 50 voices. Viral video racked up 3 million views, landing the choir at the BET Awards. Students earned scholarships. The school renamed its music wing after Jon. That wing now houses a recording booth funded by his merch profits. He visits yearly to teach arrangement basics. Tech pivot? Jon is deep in blockchain. He minted NFT versions of unreleased demos, bundling lifetime backstage passes. They sold out in 10 minutes. Revenue? $250,000 direct to his wallet, bypassing middlemen. Critics call NFTs hype. He calls them invoices payable now. He launched a Discord server where fans vote on set lists. Democracy meets R&B. Let's layer more numbers. Spotify shows 450 million streams for They Don't Know at $0.003 per stream. That's $1.35 million. But the label owns 90%, paying Jon nothing. Touring nets him $25,000 per night before expenses. Merch adds $5,000. Indie album sales average $8 digital, $28 vinyl, 20,000 units sold. That math funds his life. He still drives a 2011 Lexus LS, paid off 150,000 miles. He says Flash cost him early. Now reliability rules. Time to quiz you. Should fans boycott songs that don't pay the artist, or keep streaming for nostalgia's sake? Post boycott, or stream below and explain. Your logic could spark his next merch drop concept. Jon B's latest news also includes activism. He's lobbying Congress for a bill forcing labels to release royalty statements in plain language. He testified via Zoom, showing his 7% contract highlighted in neon pink. Lawmakers gasped. The bill is now in committee. If passed, it mandates free audits every 3 years for legacy artists, a potential game changer for every 90s act still touring state fairs. Jon B's scandal update isn't just headlines. It's a checklist of lessons. Lesson 1, read every clause. Lesson 2, guard your masters. Lesson 3, teach the next generation. He practices what he preaches. Every college Q&A ends with him handing students blank contracts and highlighters, saying, mark what you don't understand. They always fill the pages. You stuck with me through this roller coaster. So here comes a final ask. Does Jon B deserve back pay with interest? Should Chloe and Ghana cut a check? Or is sampling just a game? And will you show up for his indie release to prove fans outrank labels? Drop your takes below, tag a friend who slow danced to his hits, and let's turn this comment section into a pay the artist rally. Smash like if you learned exactly how shady a 7% royalty can be. Subscribe for next week's unfiltered breakdown. Ring the bell so you catch the premiere, and share within 24 hours. If your handle trends in our analytics, you will get a personal shout out in the next video. The fight for fair art starts right here, and you are now part of it. Stay tuned, keep receipts, and never sign away your soul for studio time. See you on the road, and remember, respect the craft, pay the creator, and let the music stay free only when the artist is.